So when my wife and I bought a home in South Carolina this year, just over the border of Charlotte, North Carolina, we were shocked by this one thing about the taxes here that completely took us off guard. And thank goodness my mentor let me know about it before I ended up costing us thousands of dollars by not filing a simple form. So be sure to stick around until the end. I'm going to reveal what we did and how you can avoid paying up to 2,000 to 3,000 or even more in taxes every single year by doing this one simple thing when you buy a home in South Carolina or anywhere near Charlotte. Now, this video is going to be all about breaking down the differences in property taxes across Charlotte, North Carolina, and Upper South Carolina, which is where we live. And this includes Fort Mill, Rock Hill, Lake Wylie areas, York, South Carolina, and beyond, including what most online calculators miss completely. Now, if you're thinking about moving to Charlotte, North Carolina, South Carolina, North Carolina, the mountains, the beach, anywhere, go ahead and reach out. My phone number is on the screen. I'd love to help you on your real estate journey, whether you're on day one of looking to move to our area, or if you're, looking maybe down the road 2-3 years. We'd love to help you wherever you're at. We get calls and texts from people like you every single day, just needing info about the Carolinas, or just want to know more about buying, selling, investing in real estate, or about money and finance here in our local area. So that's you reach out. My phone number is on the screen, and you can also schedule a private Zoom session with me. The link for that is in the description below. Now let's go ahead and get started. Now, if you don't know who I am James Lanius, a real estate professional in North and South Carolina, and I get the receipts when it comes to taxes in both of these states. So be sure to stick around. We're going to talk about it all and just go over some real life examples of how much you're going to pay in taxes each year, whether you live in North or South Carolina, Charlotte, Fort Mill, Lake Wylie versus Clover, all these different places. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Let's talk about North and South Carolina first and go over some of the basics of taxes. So in North Carolina, and these counties I'm going to talk about more specifically are Mecklenburg, Union County, Cabarrus County. They do have higher property tax rates in these counties than in some of the South Carolina counties that are just over the border of Charlotte, but you do have lower vehicle taxes here, so that's kind of a bonus. Now in South Carolina, such as York County, where I live and my wife and family live, or Lancaster County, which is just to the side of that, you do have lower property tax rates, but only if it's your primary residence, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. Now, out-of-state buyers, you will want to take note right now because a lot of people who move here often get this wrong and end up paying higher non-occupied owner rate taxes. So we're going to talk about that in a minute, but South Carolina does offer deep discounts once you declare your residency on property taxes. We'll talk about a few other fees that are not included that do take people off guard in a minute though. Now let's talk about this non-owner occupied versus owner occupied tax rate in South Carolina. And this is across the entire state, whether you're at the top in Fort Mill or Rock Hill or York, or if you're in the very bottom close to Georgia or closer to Florida, right? So the South Carolina primary residence assessment is 4%, and the South Carolina secondary assessment is 6%. Now that might not seem like a huge difference, but trust me, it can be huge. I mean, that can make the difference of thousands of dollars really if you have a $400,000, $500,000 home. It can be 3 times as much if you have that 6% versus 4%. So I'm going to share in a minute at the end of the video how you can avoid doing that when you buy a home in South Carolina if you don't buy in Charlotte. Now let's talk about some county by county comparisons, and this is 2025, 2026. This obviously is going to change as this video ages, but for now this is going to give you a pretty good idea. Now these counties I'm about to mention are in North Carolina. These are the approximate annual taxes in these counties. So Mecklenburg, you're going to be looking at about $4,200 to $4,500 a year, and that's on average for a property tax bill. And in Union County, you're going to be looking at $3,800 a year, and then in Cabarrus County, you're going to be looking at a little more than that at $3,900 a year. And once again, that's the averaging the median home price and all these different factors with the assessment rates and things. So obviously, if you buy a cheaper home, for one of these counties or a more expensive home, it's going to vary either way. Now, South Carolina, it's a bit different, such as in York County, you're going to pay about $2,200 to $2,600 a year in property taxes. So you can see that's already a savings. And once again, that's only if it's your primary residence, not a second home. Lancaster County, you're talking about $2,000 to $2,300 a year. So not too bad. It's about half as much as, the primary residence rates in, Charlotte area. And once again, that varies, of course, by how much home you have and what county and school district you're in. It changes a bit. Now, non-owner rental homes, you're going to be paying almost $6,000 or more in York County if you do not, register your home as a primary residence, or if you buy an investment property in South Carolina. So that's almost triple as much as it would be if you just lived in it yourself. That makes a huge difference. I'm going to talk about how to avoid that in a minute. Now, before we continue, if you're still unsure about which side of the border, North or South Carolina, gives you the best value, in just a minute, I'm going to show you a side-by-side comparison of two $450,000 homes, one in Fort Mill, South Carolina, one in Valentine, North Carolina, which is a suburb of Charlotte, with completely different tax outcomes. So we'll get to that in a minute. But before we do that, I'm going to share something with you that most people do not realize, and that is that lower property taxes in South Carolina can actually be canceled out by a few things. One being a higher vehicle tax. So personal property taxes in South Carolina are significantly more than North Carolina. So you're going to see that difference. I don't think it's going to make that much of the gap in terms of property taxes, but it's going to be a bit of a difference. And you also have some school district differences and fewer public services such as trash, different things like that included in your property tax bill or in your tax you pay to your county or city. Whereas in Charlotte, a lot of those are combined into one single, your tax bill, such as trash, right? That's actually included in your taxes. They provide the trash cans. You just put your trash cans on a curb. You don't pay an extra fee for that. That's included. And there's a few other things that are included in there too. Fire fees are also included in there. I forgot to mention those. Now, HOAs are pretty similar on both sides of the line. It really just depends on the builder and what those amenities are you get in a community. So it's not too much cheaper in either state, even though some people say South Carolina HOA fees are a tad bit cheaper, but I think that's just because you have more rural areas overall. So now let's talk about reassessments and increases in your tax bills. Now, South Carolina actually reassesses the property tax of your home and reassesses value every single 5 years. And they do cap that at 15% increase. So you're not going to get more than a 15% increase, which is helpful. It means they're not going to boost your value by like 50% or something and make you pay like a triple the bill, right? But, it is going to be a little bit more if it's probably capped at 15%. So just be aware of that. They, I think, are due for a reassessment in 2026. I think I just got our home reassessed this year as we got our bill for next year. So if you buy next year, you might actually be good for 5 years. Cross your fingers. Now, North Carolina reassesses generally every 4 years. Now that's in Mecklenburg. Different counties actually have different numbers. Some might be less, some might be more. But Mecklenburg, which is Charlotte, that is every 4 years. So don't assume today's tax bill equals every future bill. That could change a lot. Always confirm the year built and the reassessment date. Now let's talk about investments and some rental property tax implications if you're an investor looking for a great place to invest and put your money to work in. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I just want to stress again, South Carolina rental homes are taxed at a higher rate, 2% higher at 6%, and that could be 3 times as much. North Carolina is an investor-friendly state. They do not change the tax rate based on whether it's a first home, second home, 50th home. It's all the same. And you might have a higher rate depending on the county, but they don't change that overall rate based on, if it's an investment or not. Now, South Carolina, I would say, is better for long-term appreciation, but cash flow if bought as a primary. And North Carolina is more transparent, more straightforward, more inclusive services, fewer surprises. And I would just know before you buy, especially if you plan on investing or planning to rent soon, if you're really interested in a certain area or market, just reach out. I work with investors literally every single day. I have 5 investment listings. I have 4 more coming, working with a lot of investor buyers. So let me know if you have questions on that. Happy to help and be a guide. Now, let's talk about this real life example I mentioned at the beginning. And this is a comparison between a $450,000 home in Fort Mill versus Valentine. So one in South Carolina, one in North Carolina. This is just an example. It's not going to be exact, but it'll give you a decent idea of how much you're going to spend, whether you're on this side of the border or that side of the border. And just FYI, Fort Mill and Valentine do kind of share a border, right? So they're, pretty much apples to apples in terms of location, but you're over state line. So these are the tax differences. So in Fort Mill, you're gonna have about a $2,400 a year tax bill for a primary home. You might have a $550 a year HOA. You might have a $300 a year vehicle tax. And that home in Valentine on the other end is gonna be about $4,300 a year for taxes, zero vehicle tax and zero trash fees, zero extra city fees. That's all looped into the tax bill. Whereas in South Carolina, you're going to be paying probably a trash bill. You're going to be paying maybe a fire fee and some other school fees that normally would be included in your property tax bill if you're in Charlotte. So that's something to think about. Now, I want to go ahead and let you know what happened with my family and I when we bought our home. And we actually lived in Charlotte for a while, moved to Fort Mill and bought a home in York County. And I didn't realize how soon you needed to apply for that primary residence form in order to avoid that 6% assessment, right? So I mentioned that if you have a home as a primary home in South Carolina, you pay a 4% assessment. If it's an investment property, it's a 6% assessment. But what I did not realize is that they automatically consider your home to be an investment property, a 6% rate, if you do not fill out your primary resident tax form. So if you'd like that, shoot me a text, send me an email. I'll email that over to you. Or just keep that in mind. Make sure you make a note of it to fill out that form as soon as you can once you close on a property in South Carolina, especially a new build. Just be sure you are on the ball with that, because if you're not, you could end up paying 3 times as much as you would than if you just fill out a simple form, took it to the courthouse or mailed it to them. So be sure to do that. I can't stress that enough. We almost missed doing that in time because I just didn't know how quickly they were going to send bills out after we bought our home. And I almost missed the deadline to submit that before our property tax bill was like 3 times as much as it should have been. So keep that in mind. And overall, I do know that property taxes can be confusing, especially if you're moving in from out of state. Every state has different tax laws and rates. But that's exactly what I help people with every single week, navigating this home buying process. And I have a really great lender in Charlotte that also helps understand how much you can afford, your finances, what your income is, and what the actual tax bill might actually look like based on professional quotes by different people who know what they're talking about when it comes to finances in buying homes in Charlotte. So whether this is your first time buying a home, whether you're buying a second home, whether you're relocating or buying an investment property, go ahead and reach out. My phone number is on the screen in front of you. I would love to hear from you. I get calls and texts every single day from people calling from my YouTube channel, just needing help on their real estate journey. And whether that's in 1 or 100 days, give me a call. I would love to help you. Call or text me directly or schedule a Zoom call, and we can just chat about your real estate goals. So other than that, I know how overwhelming and stressful it can be not knowing what to expect financially. You're not alone. I've worked with people from, I think, close to 10 different states just this year navigate the financial side and the real estate side of relocating to our market here in Charlotte. So if that's you, reach out. And I'm not going to say taxes are ever going to be fun, but if you can find out you're going to save $2,000 a year, I think that's pretty awesome and definitely worth the conversation. So other than that, friends, go ahead and like this video. There's a thumbs up in the bottom right. That'll help us out a ton. Subscribe to our channel for more info about the Carolinas, real estate, money, finance, property tours, community tours. We try to do a little bit of everything. And yeah, other than that, I hope you have a blessed day. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully we'll get to show you around town very soon. And if not, we'll at least see you in the next video. Talk soon.